The air above your house contains more fresh water than every river on Earth combined. In 1912, a Russian engineer stacked sea pebbles into a cone on a Crimean hilltop and extracted 360 liters of drinking water per day. Nothing but stone and the night sky. By the end of this video, you will discover why this technology was erased from building codes and how you can build one yourself. The atmosphere holds 12,900 cubic kilometers of fresh water. Even above the driest deserts in North Africa and the American Southwest, the air carries moisture. The physics behind capturing it is insultingly simple. When air cools to its dew point, moisture condenses on any available surface. Air at 20 degrees Celsius with 80% humidity only needs to drop 2 degrees before water forms. Every cold glass you set on a table during summer collects condensation within minutes. That is atmospheric water harvesting right in front of you. The atmosphere is an ocean above your head. Civilizations understood this thousands of years before anyone called it science. The earliest observations trace back to Theophrastus in the 4th century BCE. He described dew as abundant in arid landscapes and critical for keeping plants alive where rain never fell. In ancient Israel, circular stone enclosures trapped dew overnight around crops. In Egypt and the Atacama Desert, rock piles helped condensed water vapor trickle to plant roots. These were engineered interventions based on direct observation. Perhaps the most remarkable example sits on the volcanic island of Lanzarote off northwest Africa. In the 1700s, more than 30 volcanoes erupted, wiping out its farmlands entirely. Local farmers developed a technique called inarenado, covering soil with volcanic ash and stones that trap humidity and reduce evaporation. Today, these fields cover over 12,000 hectares across one of the driest regions in Europe. In May 2025, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization recognized this as a globally important agricultural heritage system. Stone and air feeding an island for 3 centuries. But in 1900, on a hilltop in Crimea, a Russian forester stumbled onto something that would change the story of water forever. His name was Friedrich Seibold. He was working near the ruins of the Byzantine city of Theodosia on the Black Sea coast. Seibold discovered 13 massive stone piles scattered across surrounding hills. Each covered over 900 square meters and rose 10 meters high. Nearby, he found 75mm terracotta pipes leading downhill toward the city's wells. Seibold became convinced these were ancient atmospheric condensers that had supplied Theodosia with its entire water system. He built one. At an altitude of 288 meters on Mount Tepe, Oba, he constructed a truncated cone of sea stones 10 to 40 centimeters in diameter. The base stretched 20 meters across with stones piled 6 meters high in the center. The shape allowed generous airflow, with minimal thermal contact between stones. In 1912, it began operating. Maximum daily yield was 360 liters, drinking water from rocks. No electricity, no pumps, no mechanical systems. The base developed leaks in 1915 and the experiment ended, but the idea had already escaped. In 1992, French academics examined the mounds Seibold had identified as ancient condensers. The stone piles were not condensers at all. They were burial mounds from a necropolis outside Theodosia. The terracotta pipes were medieval and completely unrelated. Seibold's historical theory was wrong, but his condenser had still produced water. The physics was real, even when the archaeology was not. Something remarkable was working on that hilltop. Seibold's story spread across Europe. In Belgium, an inventor named Achille Knappen became obsessed with scaling it up. Between 1930 and 1931, Knappen constructed a massive air well on a 600-foot hill in Trône-en-Provence in southern France. The tower stood 14 meters high, with masonry walls 3 meters thick and apertures for air circulation. Inside, a concrete column was studded with projecting slate plates so condensation would drip into a basin at the base. Knappen expected 40,000 liters per day. The tower still stands today, weathered and crumbling but intact. It produced no more than a few liters per day. Massive structures absorb enormous heat during the day and cannot shed it fast enough at night. Thermal inertia prevents surfaces from ever reaching the dew point. The very thing that made these structures impressive made them useless. The real challenge was developing passive, lightweight condensers that cool radiatively. Less mass, faster cooling. That was the answer Crimean never found. His tower was abandoned. The idea was declared dead, but the physics had never been wrong. 6 decades later, the International Organization for Dew Utilization, known as OPUR, was established to make DEW available as an alternative freshwater source. Instead of stone monuments, they went in the opposite direction. They use thin, lightweight surfaces that radiate heat rapidly to the cold night sky. A typical OPUR collector sits at 30 degrees from horizontal, backed by polystyrene foam insulation and elevated 2 meters above the ground. The surface is a polyethylene film embedded with titanium dioxide and barium sulfate microspheres. It drops below the dew point within hours of sunset. Water beads form and gravity pulls them into a collection gutter. A single square meter yields 0.3 to 0.6 liters per day. Analyses conducted in Grenoble, Bordeaux, Jerusalem, Corsica, and Croatia confirmed dew water from radiative condensers is potable. In Ajaccio on Corsica, 2 30-square-meter condensers have operated continuously since 2000, producing clean water with virtually no maintenance. What happens when you scale this to serve a village? In the Kutch region of northwest India, OPUR constructed an 850-square-meter condensation plant. 10 modules, each 33 meters long, were covered in radiative foil. Families in water-scarce villages now have clean water falling from the sky every night. In southwest Morocco at Mirleft, researchers documented 178 dew events in a single year. In 2021, researchers in Science Advances demonstrated a next-generation system achieving dew mass fluxes up to 50 grams per square meter per hour, operating around the clock, water from air continuously. 3 decades of peer-reviewed data, thousands of installations across 3 continents. So why has American Building Code never heard of it? Open the International Residential Code and search for atmospheric water condensation. You find nothing. No category, no pathway, no mention. Inspectors shake their heads at designs they were never trained to evaluate. Contractors are unable to install what no code recognizes. The International Code Council did not publish a rainwater harvesting standard until 2018. Dew collection has no standard at all. Western water rights make it worse. In Colorado, a law stretching back 120 years implies collecting rainwater off your own roof is illegal. Even after reforms, homeowners can collect only 110 gallons for outdoor use. Dew condensation occupies an even grayer territory. If codes do not mention it, then officially it does not exist. Follow the money. The global bottled water industry generates over $350 billion annually. Lobbyists in government hallways and executives in boardrooms have every incentive to keep passive water collection invisible. Every condenser on a rooftop is a bottle never purchased. Systems that cost under $100 and consume zero electricity cannot support an industry built on manufactured scarcity. The codes protect the systems that profit from your dependence. But no code and no corporation can regulate the DEW point above your property at 3 in the morning. You can build a radiative condenser on a rooftop or backyard frame, angle the surface at 30 degrees from horizontal. Place polystyrene foam insulation beneath the surface. The surface can be specialized OPUR foil or standard polyethylene film from any agricultural supply store. Studies show common black polyethylene yields comparable results at a fraction of the cost. A gutter routes condensation into a sealed food-grade container. Total cost under $100. A 10-square-meter array yields 3 to 6 liters every night with zero energy input. The system works best under clear skies with moderate humidity and low wind. Those are exactly the conditions in arid regions where water scarcity is most severe. The drought creates the ideal environment for harvesting water from the atmosphere. The knowledge survived because physics does not care about water rights or code omissions or quarterly earnings. Theophrastus observed it 2,400 years ago. Seibold chased it across a Crimean hilltop with sea pebbles and a dream. Canopin built a monument still standing in Provence. OPUR proved it from Corsica to India to Morocco. Angle a sheet of plastic toward the night sky at 30 degrees on foam insulation, and the dew point will do the rest. Quietly, freely, every single night. The sky has been waiting.